Princeton University has begun administering vaccinations against meningitis B. The vaccine being offered is not approved for use in the U.S., but the FDA and the CDC both allowed its use for this particular outbreak at the school. 8 students at the campus have contracted the potentially fatal bacteria since March. Nearly 2,000 students received the vaccination on Monday, the first day it was available.
Well, the outbreak at Princeton is helping raise awareness of what federal officials are calling superbugs. These are drug-resistant bacteria that are killing more people every year. One pharmaceutical company is making a big bet on what it hopes will be a new remedy to combat those superbugs. Bertha Coombs has more.
At Cubist Pharmaceuticals, researchers are in a race against time to develop antibiotics that fight infections that are becoming increasingly deadly because they don't respond to drugs.
You're going after pathogen that evolves and changes its ability to respond to your drug. So it's not just that you're going after a target, you're going after a moving target.
The Centers for Disease Control recently warned antibiotic-resistant bacteria are becoming a serious health threat, with superbugs like C. difficile, a bacteria that affects hospital patients' bowels, and the staph infection MRSA, increasingly untreatable with current antibiotics.
We are rapidly approaching a point where the antibiotics that we've relied on for generations, really, will no longer be available to treat infections that can actually be lethal.
Well, the number of infections that are drug resistant has been growing. The pipeline for antibiotics hasn't been for years. The challenge for drug makers is profitability. Many of the most popular drugs are now off patent, and any new drugs they develop will likely be left in reserve as a treatment of last resort.
The challenges are the reason that you don't see, the hordes of companies going after these opportunities that you see, let's say, in oncology, where there's a lot of greenfield.
Last year, Congress passed new legislation to extend patent exclusivity on new antibiotics to encourage new development, while the FDA is offering an expedited path for approval. Cubist acquired 2 small firms this fall working on antibiotics to combat acute infections, and with a pipeline now of 5 drugs, is hoping the new regulations will help them bring the drugs to market sooner.
We think we have figured out a model fundamentally different from the historic large pharmaceutical company models that allows us to be a serial developer, if you will, of antibiotics for these resistant bacterial infections.
The need for new drugs is clear.
If we move to the post-antibiotic era, that means all of the advantages of modern medicine could be reversed.
The hope is to get ahead of that threat. Bertha Coombs, Nightly Business Report, Lexington, Massachusetts.